How many devices do you need to listen to music, watch movies, to get good sound and, most importantly, keep things easy to use? And not having to explain to every family member each time which button to press so that the sound finally comes on. Receivers, amplifiers, boxes, a bunch of wires. In short, a constant hassle. Actually, the task is quite difficult. To get high-quality, immersive sound for movies, maintain decent music playback, and at the same time make the system convenient and understandable for everyone. Today, let's see how well Klipsch Flexus Core 300 handles this task. Will it manage to impress me, or is it a failure? The Core 300 is the flagship soundbar in the Flexus lineup. And it's not just a standalone speaker for your TV, but the foundation for an expandable home theater system. At first, you can just get the soundbar, and then, if needed, add a wireless subwoofer, rear speakers, or immediately assemble a full-fledged system. And all this comes with a minimal number of wires, which, to be honest, have been annoying me for quite a while now. I'm just tired of always living with this box of wires. And the soundbar is impeccably built. It looks modern and neat, elegant, but at the same time it doesn't try to become the focal point of the room or draw attention away from the TV. There are two finish options available: Classic Black and Walnut. We have the Walnut version for review. The Core 300 is about 137 cm wide, so visually it pairs especially well with large TVs, for example, those with a 65-inch screen or larger. But the large width isn't just for aesthetics. It allows for better separation of the left and right channels, creates a wider soundstage, and convincingly fills a large room with sound. The soundbar is literally packed with speakers and amplifiers. The Core 300 soundbar is built in a 5.1.2 configuration. It has front channels, a separate center channel, side speakers, two upward-firing Dolby Atmos speakers, and four built-in 4-inch bass drivers. That's why its impressive size makes perfect sense. The front panel is covered with a light-colored, acoustically transparent fabric. On the right, there is a small Klipsch logo. The implementation is especially interesting. The scrolling text is located under the fabric and shines directly through it. When you change the volume, switch the input, or select the operating mode, the necessary information appears on the display. After that, the display automatically turns off. There are also no constantly lit bright lights on the top panel, and that's really great. While watching a movie, nothing blinks in front of you or distracts you from what's happening on the screen. Honestly, this kind of minimalism once played a little trick on me. When I first connected the soundbar to the power and hooked it up to the TV, I didn't immediately realize whether it was on or not. There were no bright indicators, and it was already on. The Flexus Core 300 connects to the TV via HDMI eARC. The necessary HDMI cable is already included in the package. Through HDMI eARC, the TV can transmit multi-channel sound to the soundbar, including Dolby Atmos. The volume can be controlled with a regular TV remote. In addition to HDMI eARC, the Core 300 also has an extra HDMI input. This is convenient if you want to connect a game console, media player, or another video or audio source to the soundbar. There is also an optical input, Ethernet, and Bluetooth. A separate RCA jack is intended for connecting a wired subwoofer, but the wireless connection is handled so well that this output seems unnecessary to me. The Klipsch in the Flexus Core 300 already has a full-fledged network streamer built in. The soundbar supports Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, Apple AirPlay, Google Cast, and QPlay. You open a music app on your phone, select the Core 300 as the playback device, and the music is streamed to the soundbar directly through your home network. So connecting to the internet via Wi-Fi or cable is required to activate the network features. That means the phone in this case works only as a remote control. The music stream itself goes directly from the internet to your Klipsch soundbar. Thanks to Google Cast support, we managed to connect the Klipsch Flexus Core 300 to Roon. The soundbar appeared in the program as a Google Cast zone, so you can send music to it from the Roon library and streaming services connected to this system. But you need to understand that the Core 300 is not an official Roon-ready device and works via the Google Cast protocol. Therefore, the ability to extend the signal and combine it with other zones depends on the limitations of Google Cast itself. If there is no network connection, you still have Bluetooth at your disposal. In general, it covers all the main modern connection options. You can control the soundbar not only with the remote, which honestly seemed unnecessary to me, but also through the branded Klipsch Connect Plus app. In the app, you can adjust the volume, select inputs, control individual channels, and switch between preset sound modes. There are modes for movies and music, a night mode, dialogue enhancement, preset equalizer settings, and the ability to adjust the sound manually. There aren't that many settings. It might feel like you need more, like you've been shortchanged. But after living with the system for a few days, I came to the conclusion that there are exactly as many settings as you need for family use. At the same time, using the system doesn't turn into torture, like let's tweak something else with that constant itch to keep tweaking things. One of the main features of Flexus Core 300 is the Dirac Live automatic acoustic correction system. The package includes a measurement microphone. It connects to a separate port on the back panel of the soundbar. After that, you start the measurement process, place the microphone at several points around the listening area, and the system analyzes how the soundbar interacts with the room. Any room changes the sound. Walls, floor, ceiling, windows, furniture, and even the placement of the soundbar itself can amplify some frequencies and weaken others. The room especially affects the low frequencies. In one room, the bass might be tight and fast, while in another, the same soundbar can start to hum and create an unpleasant resonance. Dirac analyzes these deviations and tries to correct them. As a result, the bass usually becomes tighter, the dialogues clearer, and the overall sound picture more accurate. Of course, Dirac cannot fully replace acoustic room treatment and cannot turn any room into a perfect studio. But in most typical living spaces, this kind of correction can make a noticeable difference and produce good results. Our premium hi-fi demo room already has acoustic treatment, so after calibration, I didn't hear any drastic changes. The sound was good before, and it remained good. But this rather means that the room itself doesn't create any serious problems. But in a regular living room, automatic calibration can turn out to be an almost essential feature. The main thing is, using calibration is really simple. The first thing I did after connecting the Core 300 was watch a few movie clips, and then I listened to music through Tidal. And you know guys, this soundbar sounds really impressive. The sound is clear, tight and articulate. It conveys not only the overall tonal balance well, but also the actual texture of the sound. If there's some action happening on the screen, you can hear quite accurately where the sound source is located. Voices are confidently anchored to the center of the screen. Effects move well from left to right. And the wide design of the soundbar allows you to clearly hear the separation between the left and right channels. What's especially interesting? Core 300 creates not only a wide soundstage, but also a certain sense of depth. The sound doesn't feel completely stuck to the front panel of the TV. In certain scenes there's layering. Some sounds are closer, others are perceived a bit farther away. For music, the large width of the soundbar also turns out to be a significant advantage. The left and right channels are separated quite well, so the composition doesn't merge into a single point in the center. The instruments are spread across the width of the stage. The voice remains in the center. And the bass sounds quite substantial even without a separate subwoofer. The built-in bass section of the Core 300 can really surprise you. Of course, physics can be ignored, and the built-in speaker is still far from the capabilities of a large separate subwoofer. But for regular movie watching, TV shows, television, and listening to music, the bass here is more than enough. As a result, you get truly large-scale sound from a single device connected to the TV with just one cable. Well, the second one, of course, goes into the power outlet. One of the main advantages of Flexus is that you can turn a single soundbar into a full-fledged home theater. And you don't need to buy the whole system right away. At first, you can just use the Flexus Core 300. And if you want more bass over time, you can add one or even two Flexus subwoofers. If you want real surround sound, connect the Surround 100 or Surround 200 rear speakers. A special Flexus Transport USB transmitter comes with the wireless subwoofer or the set of rear speakers. This dongle plugs into a dedicated port on the back panel of the soundbar. After that, you turn on the components, start pairing, and the system connects automatically. If both the subwoofer and the rear speakers are used at the same time, only one transmitter needs to be installed. The other components can be manually paired to it. The main advantage of this solution is that you don't need to run speaker wires from the TV across the entire room. Yes, each active component will still need to be powered from an outlet, but there are no long speaker cables running under the carpet or along the walls. Basically, you pair everything once, and after that it all works automatically. Convenient, useful, practical. After connecting an external subwoofer, the character of the system changes noticeably. You get extra punch, foundation, and scale. Explosions, impacts, engine sounds, and other low-frequency effects are no longer just heard with your ears, but felt through practically your whole body. If something falls or explodes on the screen, it feels as if it really happened right in your room. But a subwoofer is useful not only for movies. When listening to music, it adds a foundation to the sound and allows the main section of the soundbar to focus less on reproducing the lowest frequencies. As a result, the mid-range frequencies can sound more open and the whole system feels larger in scale. The main thing is to set the bass level correctly. The subwoofer shouldn't constantly remind you of its presence or hum separately from the rest of the system. In a well-tuned system, you shouldn't even think about it. You don't hear the subwoofer itself, you just feel that the whole soundstage has become deeper and more convincing. Guys, the real magic happened when I connected the surround sound speakers and paired them with the system literally with just 2 button presses. That's the moment the Klipsch Flexus Core 300 truly came to life. Honestly, I didn't expect such spacious, large-scale and emotional sound from this system. When watching a movie, I was immersed in the atmosphere of the series almost instantly. The soundstage was no longer just in front of me, next to the TV. It literally surrounded the listening area, or more precisely, the viewing area. These small rear speakers add those seemingly insignificant details that actually have a huge impact on the overall impression. Rustles, reflections, movements of objects, room sounds, music and background effects start to appear not only in front, but also to the sides and behind the listener. It's these small sound nuances that create a sense of presence and give us the emotions we expect from a real home theater. When watching a movie, everything is pretty clear. If the track is recorded in a multi-channel format, including 5.1 or Dolby Atmos, the system distributes the sound between the soundbar, subwoofer and rear speakers according to the soundtrack itself. But the most interesting part for me started when I listened to music. When playing a regular stereo recording, the system uses multi-channel processing and adds rear channels to the sound. And I couldn't turn this off. But probably I don't need to. Everything should work automatically. And here, the result turned out to be completely unexpected. The music gains incredible depth. The soundstage becomes enormous. The instruments and individual elements of the recording literally fill all the space around the listener. At the same time, excellent clarity is maintained. The music doesn't turn into a muddy echo smeared across the room. On the contrary, the sound remains clean, detailed, and well organized. Of course, this is no longer classic stereo in the usual audiophile sense. The system intentionally processes the signal and creates a completely different listening experience. Or maybe stereo is over? What do you think? But from an emotional point of view, the result turned out to be simply amazing. At Premium Hi-Fi, we have the opportunity to listen to equipment of almost any level, including serious reference stereo systems. And that's why I was even more surprised by the Flexus Core 300. It doesn't try to replace a classic stereo system, and it doesn't have to compete with it by all audiophile standards. But in terms of spaciousness, scale, and the ability to instantly immerse the listener in music, this system can provide completely different and unique experiences. The soundbar creates a wide front soundstage, the subwoofer adds foundation and scale, and the rear speakers literally immerse you inside the musical space. Guys, I really didn't expect that a relatively affordable wireless system with a minimal amount of wires could deliver such emotional, atmospheric, and captivating sound. In general, Klipsch has pleased me once again. Flexus Core 300 is easy to connect, looks neat and elegant, doesn't distract with unnecessary indicators, and offers almost all the modern playback options you might need, except for connecting vinyl. But most importantly, it really sounds great both in movies and when listening to music. Of course, theoretically, a separate stereo system will still offer more options for serious music listening. But after today's test, I'm not so sure anymore. A full-fledged component home theater with a separate AV receiver and a large number of speakers can create an even more precise and immersive surround environment. But such a system will require significantly more equipment, wiring, space, and setup time. If you want it, then you need it. But if you want a box full of wires, welcome to the world of audiophile S&M. Klipsch Flexus Core 300 offers a very good balance between sound quality, convenience, and the amount of equipment in the room. Today you can use just one soundbar, and tomorrow you can add a subwoofer. Then you can connect rear speakers and get a full-fledged home theater system with a minimum amount of wires. You connect and set everything up once, and then the system just works. This was Arkady Zenin from Premium Hi-Fi. We are located in Riga, and we connect people with sound. That's all for now, and may the force of the sound that's right for you be with you. Come visit us.